vengeful ghost brides, Japanese folklore, and a classic friends trapped in a haunted house scenario. If you're looking for a melodramatic ghost story with a little bit of gore that doesn't overstay its welcome, then this might be the book for you. Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw takes place in a Heian-era mansion in Japan. When we jump into the story, we're introduced to a group of friends who are getting together for what appears to be the first time in a very long time. And then we're drip-fed each of the characters' backgrounds and relationships to each other as they start to arrive to the abandoned mansion that the majority of the story takes place in. And then we also get hints that our point of view character and protagonist Kat has recently gone through some mental trauma and she has been estranged from the group more so than the rest. One of the other friends in the group, Philip, is described as being as close as you could probably get to the all-American boy as you could be. He's tall, smart, handsome, rich, and white, which is an interesting flip on the classic trope of a group in one of these stories being all white with maybe one or two people of color. This friend group is the other way around. And back in their younger days, the group of friends were notorious thrill seekers and amateur ghost hunters, and that's what brings them to this abandoned Heian mansion at the beginning of our story. Two of the friends, Nadia and Faz, are getting married, and Nadia's always wanted to have her wedding ceremony in a haunted house. And Philip, being the rich and charismatic friend that he is, was able to buy all of them first class tickets to Japan, and then he was somehow able to talk/pay his way into getting permission to camp out and hold a ceremony in this supposedly haunted and abandoned mansion in Japan. There's a lot of interpersonal drama that starts to unfold between all of the friends, and of course that happens with the backdrop of the mansion actually being haunted. And I think that's all I'll say about the plot so I don't accidentally spoil anything. The book is pretty short, so there's really not much more I can talk about without going into more details. The writing style of the book might be a big barrier for some people to get invested in the story. The first thing you'll notice when you start reading the book is it makes liberal use of purple prose, which I'm not personally against, but it was so ornate in places and used so frequently that I often had to reread sentences to make sure I really understood what was trying to be conveyed. The book also assumes that the reader has some knowledge of Japanese folklore and spirits. I don't think it's impenetrable if you don't know anything about this, though. I recognize some of the spirit names, but I did have to pause and look things up like yokai, kitsune, and ohagaru betari. And normally I don't like having to pause so often when I'm reading to look things up, but I started to appreciate the detours that I went on looking up these spirits and other things in Japanese folklore. I found myself doing quick deep dives on Wikipedia, and it felt like a really fun supplemental reading to the story. Nothing But Blackened Teeth is a very short book. You could probably read it in one sitting or in just a couple hours. I think making the book so short was a good decision because of the difficulty of the narrative at some places, and the characters aren't that compelling. It seemed like the characters didn't really want to be around each other, and that didn't really give me much reason to root for them or feel attached to anyone in the story. The book was still a fun read, though. Once the ghost action started to take over, it felt like a roller coaster. It was really fun and thrilling, but once it was over, I felt like I didn't really have anything to walk away with. There were some hints at some interesting themes that could have been explored, like Philip being the rich white man that he is, he's able to kind of treat other cultures as like a playground or something he can buy and sell as he pleases, and Nadia wanting to get married in a haunted house only for a ghost bride to end up being the main antagonist against the group of friends. The protagonist Kat also carries with her themes of mental health, abandonment, and what roles should friends and family really play during these difficult times, but all of these themes are just kind of brushed on, and I think that's fine because if the book was any longer, it would be pretty difficult to read the narrative if the flowery prose kept up the entire time. Overall, I thought Nothing But Blackened Teeth was alright. It wasn't my favorite read, but it was a fun take on the haunted house setting, and I do appreciate being spooked by ghosts from another culture. If you're looking for something short to read and don't mind the mental work of a somewhat challenging narrative, then check out Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw.